Hello everyone, we're here to talk to you today about multimodal communication. So, what is multimodal communication? Multimodal communication is used by everyone to communicate and enhance their communication. It encompasses hand gestures, facial expressions, eye movements, and the speech itself. However, some people may have difficulties with speech due to a number of reasons, from having an accident to having a disability from birth. Communication is something which we do every single day, and its importance cannot be more understated in how much we take advantage of it. Enter augmentative alternative communication, or AAC, which is an area of clinical practice which assists these people with their communication. It includes everything in multimodal communication minus the speech component. It is very important in expressing needs, wants, and opinions or preferences in those that may struggle with oral speech, and it assists with their overall quality of life. So the goal of AAC is to achieve the most effective communication possible for the individual in order to maximize their potential and lead to the greatest, highest quality of life possible. Everyone uses a variety of means to communicate, so the best form or forms of communication for any individual are those that the individual will use to communicate with other people. So there are two types of AAC. So there's aided AAC, where any external item is used to aid communication, and it includes both high technology systems and low or light technology systems. So high technology systems include things such as voice and print output communication aids, and low or light technology systems include communication boards such as alphabet and picture boards, remnant books and symbol dictionaries and cards. So not only are pictures used, but other symbol systems such as bliss symbols are also used by people who struggle with oral communication. And the other category is unaided AAC, which are communication techniques that do not require an external aid, but whatever is already available to the person, such as facial expression, gesture, and eye contact. So there are four types of communication aids. Comprehensive expressive aids try to meet the communication needs of the person throughout their day. So these include communication in alphabet boards and symbol systems. Targeted expressive aids are designed for specific situations and as a result have a limited message set. So these include cards with pictures or simple messages explaining what the person wants or needs. Then you have visual supports, which help an individual with the completion of tasks. It helps them remember events and make sense of their day in general. So these supports can include things such as picture calendars or picture lists. And then you have supports for communication partners, which provide detail about the person who has the communication difficulties. So an example of this is the book About Me, which includes information about the person's schedule, their likes and dislikes, as well as information about their needs and abilities. So AAC integrates groups of four components. These are symbols, aids, techniques, and/or strategies, which help to enhance an individual's communication abilities and should incorporate unaided AAC as well as aided AAC in order for it to truly be multimodal and to utilize the full potential of the individual's communication abilities. In order for AAC to be effective, staff needs to be trained accordingly, and the individuals need to practice their communication whenever and wherever they can.
There are many disorders and diseases that prevent an individual from communicating in what society sees as the normal way. But through development of research and technology, different types of communication have become easier to use and understand, and almost all those who cannot communicate in the regular way have some other form of communication. Although the whole population uses multimodal communication, those who benefit most from progressive technologies and research are those who suffer from acquired injuries or have congenital or degenerative disorders or diseases. This may include autism, Parkinson's, aphasia, those who have experienced a stroke, Huntington's disease, cancer, dementia, head trauma patients, deafness, and those with genetic disorders like Down syndrome, whereby functional speech may develop. However, communication partners may have difficulty understanding the person due to poor intelligibility. A person may not have an AAC for their whole life, only for a limited time. This could include people who have experienced injury, who can recover over time, or possibly a person who has had surgery near their vocals. The Australian Bureau of Statistics concluded that there was 215,000 Australians under the age of 65 years with a disability who require assistance with communication. Half of these were due to hearing impairment, and approximately 0.2% having speech impairment. Of these 215,000 people, just 13,000 people were believed to be aided by an AAC in Australia. Furthermore, in the UK, the total expectation is that 536 people per 100,000 of the UK population, which is approximately 0.5%, could benefit from an AAC.
Thomas Banks is a 23-year-old male who has cerebral palsy. According to the Cerebral Palsy Alliance 2016, it is a physical disability that affects movement and posture. The main cause of cerebral palsy is from brain damage or injury during pregnancy and is lifelong as there is no known cure. When Tom learned to speak, he had difficulty in communicating with others effectively in relation to his articulation, so in grade 6 he received a light writer to help him with this. Noted by Toby Churchill Limited, a light writer is a voice output communication aid, or VOCA, and is very simple to use as you type in what you want to say and the device generates speech. Tom tends to spend a lot of time online, and a large portion of this time includes on dating sites, as he is trying to find a partner. He wasn't always successful because of his disability, as those he was dating found it hard to communicate with him. Thomas often becomes frustrated when people do not allow him to finish his sentences, either spoken or on the light writer, which takes away Tom's ability to be heard.
I will now be discussing Mindy Thomas. She is in her 40s living with cerebral palsy and she was diagnosed at 6 months old. Mindy has significant physical and communication challenges. However, she has overcome these challenges with the use of an augmentative and alternative communication, so an AAC device. Mindy is also married and has an 8-year-old child. Growing up, Mindy used a simple form of AAC to express herself, such as the use of a picture board. This featured vocabulary, numbers, and the names of family and friends, which aided in her communication. At age 8, Mindy began to use a device to aid in her speech communication. Today, Mindy now uses an eye tracking device, which aids in her communication from talking to her daughter, to job hunting, and to texting. Mindy further states that she wishes that she had an eye tracking device growing up, as it has assisted her to get things done quickly and more efficiently, and that her career path could have been different. However, this does not stop Mindy from completing her college degree in telecommunications and journalism, and she has further taken web design classes and marketing. Furthermore, once Mindy began using an AAC device, each new device opened new avenues of communication for her.
People who have difficulties with communication have some similarities and differences with their experiences using their devices and how they live their lives. Some similarities between our two lived experiences is that both Mindy and Thomas developed a good social life like any person who does not have communication difficulties, as Mindy is married and has a child, and Thomas has been successful with past relationships. Another similarity is that both Mindy and Thomas are living with cerebral palsy and have had communication difficulties from a young age. However, they were both able to overcome this obstacle, and this enabled them to reach their goals, specifically in regards to work and education. For example, Thomas funded Center for Access, which provides disability awareness training workshops to many different groups about how to work and communicate with people who have disabilities. Mindy was able to complete her degree in telecommunication and journalism. The differences between them is that although Thomas and Mindy have cerebral palsy, they use different forms of communication. Thomas is quite vocal and is able to express himself through speech and the use of a light writer, whereas Mindy is less vocal and uses an eye tracking device as her main form of communication. Another difference between them is that due to advancements in technology, Thomas has used an AAC device from a young age, whereas Mindy received an AAC device after completing her degree, as these devices did not exist when she was growing up. Instead, Mindy used a picture board during her primary school years to aid in her vocabulary and communication. Hopefully by now, you know the importance of multimodal communication and its importance in society.